So I'd want you to tell people a little bit about your story, because you broke up from your ex, and so that's, by that point you'd seen somebody else, another therapist. You came to see me, and I took you through a process called moving on from your ex. So if you would really like to share a little bit about that, because Nadine wanted to do another process with me called Relationship Bootcamp, but that's a very intense program. It's for those who are single women who want to get back in the dating life and to meet someone. But by the time that Nadine came to see me, I didn't feel that she was ready for that. And she wanted to do it, but I said, I don't feel you're ready. And looking, now you know that you weren't ready for that.
No.
And so I knew for her, she needed to look at look at what happened in her previous relationships first. And so we started this process, moving on from your ex, which was an ebook that she had to work through. And she sent me kind of updates weekly, so I knew her process and how she was doing. So would you like to share just a little bit about what that was like for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I would sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I would recommend for anyone to do. Even if that relationship with that certain person who you always remember, or even if that was a long time ago, I feel like there's so much that you can discover about yourself and things that you do and the ways that you react. There's so much to find out that I was able to look at through that particular program of Getting Over Your Ex, and just to really get some sober thinking to do with the relationship. And when all the kind of the sediment kind of had settled in terms of the emotional things and everything, so going through this process, I'm able to see now that wasn't the right relationship for me. And had I not done that, and I'm quite sure about this, I would have, very likely that I would have lived the rest of my life regretting that relationship had ended, thinking this person was the one for me, the one who, and it didn't work, and all these things that I did wrong, and I pushed him away, and it was this awful car crash of a relationship in the end, and what a shame that it had gone so badly, and I want him back, and one day it'll all come. That would have been my thinking. I'm quite sure it would have been very difficult. It's hard for me to imagine that there's any other way that I could have gone had I not gone through this program and just become more, okay, what actually was going on? Yeah. Was it good for me? Was it good for him? Was it a healthy relationship? Could I have had children with this person? Could I have married this? Could I have been happy with it? Just reflecting on all those things and just thinking, actually, no.
And that wasn't what you were thinking at the time. At the time, it was like this was
the opposite, wasn't it?
Complete opposite. And you had the fantasy of getting back together with him.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah. I really had a strong desire to reunite with him and to make things well again. And what I really learned is that it ended because it was supposed to end, and to try and recreate something, because you're holding on to these emotions from the past, it won't guarantee that you will be happy with that person again. Just because you think that it will and you want it and you desire it, it doesn't. The reality might not be so much in favour of that fantasy. And I'm now I'm able to see that this wasn't a good match. Wasn't a good match.
Yeah. And to have that clarity, like you say, people can carry this thing for the one that got away for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And not be able to appreciate who's in front of them, and perhaps miss out on someone truly amazing and the right person for them. And so I know it was a very challenging process for Nadine, because she had never looked at any of these issues before. But you know, if I said to you at the time, you'll see that perhaps this wasn't the best match for you, I can't really tell you that, but you have to come to that understanding for yourself. And now, you know, because he did pursue you afterwards very clearly. He wanted to meet up with you and wanted to give it a go again, or at least try and find out. And what was it like for you then, having gone through that process? And
yeah, it was tempting to I was feeling seduced by the idea of him wanting to, because he broke up with me. He ended the relationship, and I wouldn't have chosen for it to end. So it was a very abrupt thing that felt like it was torn away. Something was torn away from me, and I wasn't ready for it. So yeah, so somehow, in order to kind of heal that wound, it feels like the person wanting you back is the remedy. Exactly. Is the thing that will will just make you feel better, and you know, and that's yeah. So that was tempting. That was so tempting, and I felt it, and it was my mind was just in turmoil. But there
was something else.
There was something else. There was some kind of like pillar of strength or something that had been created through what we'd through the coaching, through the Getting Over Your Ex program. There was something else, and yeah, I felt that was a strong something to hold on to, and yeah, like holding on to a tree in the storm, not wanting to be taken up in the gale force wind. So yeah, and really having that pillar of strength really rescued me from potentially a disastrous another episode.
So you felt like you had this like tree or something to hold on to, because some part of you knew what the truth was, some part of you, a stronger part of you, knew what you wanted.
I remember at the time you telling me, you know, what you want to be looking for is a certain type of reaction, like, you know, if it's good and if it's going to go well, this is what you should be hearing from him. And what I was hearing from him was the exact opposite. And so that was the voice I needed. That was what I kind of clung on to, thinking, as much as I'm being sucked into it in to an extent, no, it's not right, and I can feel it. I'm wiser now. I'm more aware, and I have an option. Whereas before, I didn't think I had an option. So this is what had been offered to me through our sessions and through knowing you. It was just another option. So and I knew that this is a place that I can trust, and that was stable and solid and consistent. And things with my ex, the opposite, chaos, you know, nothing grounded, no real like logical thinking, all to do with emotions and getting kind of whisked off.
Did it feel good when you were with him?
When we were together in our I wasn't 100% happy. No, I wasn't. There was a lot of doubt. Yeah.
And so, like, just fast forwarding, when you think about your relationships with men, and when you think about your ex now, what's it like for you?
Well, I know that through me kind of getting in touch with my like emotions and like softening up and getting really much more in touch with my femininity, that the kind of guy that I am very attracted to is quite different to my ex. You know, it's a whole different genre.
Yeah. I like that.
If that's, hopefully that's not.
Can you say
an offensive
more?
way.
Yeah, it's just we know what it is for you. Yeah.
So, so how I'm experiencing it is that when I was with my ex, I was in a little bit more of a, my prickly kind of more that mode. So so the energy balance was that perhaps I was in a more of a like my kind of more masculine energy in that relationship, and by virtue of that, he will have been in a kind of softer, more feminine energy, and that's kind of how things were between us, and I wasn't 100% comfortable in myself, and so now that I feel more comfortable being in that feminine energy and really, like embracing that, I find myself like a magnet to the masculine energy. Like I'm starting to really feel that very strongly, and that's where the attraction is, and it's something that I've not experienced before, and it's wonderful.
That's fantastic. I mean, what was your sex life like with your ex, and now you're kind of experiencing something different for you, and things have changed?
Well, it was sex for me with my ex was it was a way for me to feel that I was getting attention from him, because he was quite a distracted person and often would just kind of retreat into his own world, and I felt like he wasn't really paying attention to me, and also that he wasn't really present just in life. So I felt that those moments of intimacy is when he really kind of turned his attention to me, and so that's the pleasure or the kind of enjoyment that I got from that with him was more to do with, he notices me, I'm here, that kind of, oh great, and but it wasn't something that I could fully engage with and kind of let go and enjoy myself. I was like feeling a little bit kind of, I would put up a little bit of resistance, and I was I wasn't it was a chore.
Wow, a chore.
Wow. Yeah. It was something that kind of made me roll my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, like really just, what do we have to do,
Wow, yeah.
So,
and you were together for 4 years as well.
Yeah. So, it's a long time, and and so, but again, I'm only really able to understand truly like what that meant, and to like identify that I felt that it was a chore, and I felt that it was a bit of an invasion, and that I wasn't really like engaging with it, because now kind of on the other side of, like the flip side of the coin, now that I'm attracted to different kind of guys are attracted to me, the experience of sex is, I mean, there are very few words.
Right, okay.
But I'll find some. Yeah, it's a whole new world. Like it's very different when you can really start to enjoy sex, and when the chemistry is right, then it's I mean, it's very different. Like with my ex, I was very self-conscious. I was always in my head, thinking about what was going on. I was aware of what I looked like. I was not happy how I looked, and I was thinking, well, what should I be doing, and is it right, and is it, it was all a very kind of, it was a lot of thinking, and I can say that at the moment, how I'm experiencing sex is that, I'm not in my head. I'm not anywhere in my head, and it's all just, it's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of like primitive like thing where there's no intellectual, that intellectual part isn't kind of engaging, and the self-consciousness, the inhibition, all of those, the resistance, like none of that is there anymore, and not, I don't know, that lots of things have gone on in order for this to be the case. It's.
Could you share some of that, do you think? Just a couple of things? Because I know a lot of our processes has been about, there's a word you mentioned before about being uptight.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like loosening up a bit and letting go. A lot of the words that you would use and I would use is about letting go.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a good sex life, then it is about letting go. Massively. So. And so even though a lot of the work we were doing was completely unrelated to sex itself, but because you were much more in touch with your emotions, your feelings, and you could let go and be free that way, it obviously helps you in your sex life. This is...
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Just in the way that I was feeling that the way I could engage with the world, it started to change when I was getting in touch with my feelings. I was kind of softening up and becoming more accepting of things, and just being like, this is how I am, this is how I feel.
And all your feelings were okay, instead of judging your feelings.
Instead of the judgment, instead of beating myself up and feeling bad, and that was it. That was a huge aspect of it. And now, for that to kind of have dissolved or to no longer feature, makes room for so much more. It makes space for other things which you're not controlling, or it's not things that you're kind of calculating, or it's all of that, it's gone. It's kind of much more to do with like intuition, like instinctive feeling, so being able to communicate honestly with people in work, with like members of my family, and with my friends, to be able to start sharing things about me with them, was part of some of the steps, the practical steps that I was applying in my life.
Because one of the things was about having honest communications, and there's different levels of honesty for sure. Because I know one of Nadine's things was about hiding herself and hiding your true feelings, and by doing that, it's kind of blocking things down, shutting things off, and you become disconnected. So we wanted to reverse that process to get in touch with the feelings, all of them, the fantastic ones and the icky ones, and being able to express that, because again, through sex, through communication, be it verbally with your friends and family, it's all about expressing yourself and expressing yourself freely. So
exactly.
So it's with you saying with your family about having honest communications, and
and going in, I mean, that was very hard, very very tough, and it's almost like, how can I word it, how difficult it was to find it, to go there and have these honest conversations, express myself, which I wasn't used to. It was kind of proportionate to how much of a sense of release and relief that I was experiencing afterwards. So as that continued, these steps and these, these tasks, and okay, this this new thing that you're going to try, and just to get out of what you're used to and try something new. And I started to realise, yeah, this is good for me. This is good for me, because I'm feeling the effect afterwards, that kind of letting go of the precipice.
The precipice, yeah.
And feeling like, actually, I'm not falling to my death and destruction and kind of, you know, it's, I'm landing on my feet. And each time it builds up a real sense of, okay, I can do that, and it's okay, and actually I feel so much better than before.
And your relationships improved hugely. And it was nothing like, you know, the fear that you had of saying certain things and the anxiety around that, because it's something new for you, and then taking that step and saying it, and then to have their response and reaction. And what was it like on each occasion and those occasions?
Yeah, each time it was this wonderful connection that I was getting. You know, I was anticipating that I'd be rejected, I'd be judged, they wouldn't want to have anything to do with me anymore. Once I told them like how I really felt inside, and actually each time it was like, oh, I'm so glad that I know that about you now. Thank you for telling me. Oh, I really appreciate you telling me. I mean,
it was the opposite. The opposite of everything you thought was going to happen.
So,
and you knew that from experience, and that's what I was trying to guide you to have the experience, and then you get the belief and the trust and the knowingness, and it's not theory anymore. It's not theory. Thank you.